Hello, wrestling fans out there. Welcome to Six Wins Wrestling. My name is Matt, and this is Chris, and we've got another new top 6 list for you. If you're feeling froggy, sometimes you gotta leap, and what better place to leap off of than the top rope? I'm gonna talk about my top 6 favorite frog splash performers.
Well, I'm excited to get into it. I'll be honest, I don't even know if I could think of 6 different frog splashes. So first and foremost, I'm impressed that you were able to come up with the list in general.
I want to give you the honor of choosing the number 6 because I had a hard time picking my number 6. And I'm going to give you 2 options. We've talked about Montez Ford and Logan Paul, both getting incredible height on their frog splashes.
Yeah.
Both been guys that have recently started using it and are still kind of up-and-comers to WWE. Who would you put on the list as one of the 6 best frog splashes, and who's a loser?
Okay, so I guess I get to kick off the top 6 frog splash.
Surprised you. That's a swerve. You didn't see that coming.
Yeah, didn't know it was coming. So the 6th best frog splash in wrestling, Montez Ford.
Ooh, nice.
Gotta go with Montez Ford. Logan Paul's is great, so we'll put him in the honorable mention category. But I'm going Montez Ford just because of the sheer height he gets. And after the impact, it's like he bounces 2 to 3 feet off the mat and then kind of rolls out of it. So it looks like while his opponent's taking the brunt of the impact, looks like he's getting almost just as hurt as the opponent. So Montez Ford's my number 6.
Yeah, I think he is most similar to a guy that I have very high on the list, who also height and impact really sell the move as a high-risk maneuver. So I'm going to go with my number 5. My number 5 favorite wrestler to do the frog splash, I'm going with Kevin Owens. You typically think of smaller guys doing frog splashes. There are some traditional like big heavyweights that did top rope or middle rope moves. Vader famously had a big splash to finish off. But yeah, I think Kevin Owens' frog splash, because he's a bigger boy, I think it looks great. You don't see a larger guy fly through the air, and he does a really solid frog splash. I like the frog splash for Kevin Owens.
I would be very curious to see how he trains, because he doesn't seem to be a big weightlifter. Like, he's a little bit fluffier of a guy, and his agility is up there with the best of them. Like, he can pull off some of the moves that you see Ricochet or like a Rey Mysterio doing at, he's got to be close to 300 pounds. Like, he's just a big boy in there doing some crazy agile moves. So that's a good one. I didn't even think of Kevin Owens.
Here's where it gets controversial, because this is for a lot of people probably number 1, but I've got him lower, and I have a reason. My number 4 favorite wrestler to do the frog splash is Latino Heat himself, Eddie Guerrero. I've got him down at number 4. Like, Eddie Guerrero, kind of the originator of the frog splash for the most part. In doing some research, I did see that he also attributed kind of co-developing the frog splash with a wrestler named Art Barr, who also passed away young. He never wrestled in WWE, WWF, very short term in WCW, but I did see like 1 or 2 like small clips of his. Guerrero is like the first guy I think of when I think of frog splash, but maybe that's because of my age, going up WCW and WWF, going head to head. He was the only guy that was doing the frog splash for quite a few years, but for whatever reason, his as tight and controlled and smooth as his frog splash is, it always just felt small. His pump just seems to kind of be this tiny little tuck, and it just feels smaller and less impactful than the other frog splashes. I can't go any higher than number 4.
Okay, yeah, you might get some Latino heat for that.
Come at me.
But I have you have put a lot of time and effort into this, so I think the next 3 are people are gonna be like, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Okay, well, you complimented the list, but I do know number 1 is a terrible choice, but it's very personal. We're not there yet. We're in the top half. The next 3 are 3 of my like all-time favorite wrestlers, so there's a lot of bias here. Number 3, and it pains me to put him at 3 because he is one of my all-time favorites, is Seth Rollins. The Seth Rollins Frog Splash is gonna have to be 3 for me. And I wonder if Seth is lower because it's not necessarily his go-to finisher. It's above average and everything, but there's nothing that makes it super special. It's just really quality all around.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't picture Seth being on the list. I don't think of Seth Rollins when I think of Frog Splash wrestlers.
Yeah, that's true, because it's just, never really been a finisher, mostly a signature move every once in a while. Thrown out,
Yeah.
All right, well, here we go. This guy probably should be number 1, quite honestly. If you weren't going to pick Eddie, I think a lot of other people think this is the best Frog Splash guy. Number 2 is Rob Van Dam. The 5-star Frog Splash. He was who I was referring to when you put Montez and sells it like he's getting hurt just as much as the guy he does it to. Rob Van Dam was also the guy that hit that Frog Splash, popped up, kicked his little minnow legs, held his ribs like he just broke his body. RVD's Frog Splash was incredible. A lot of times if the guy was set up the wrong way in the ring, didn't matter. Don't set yourself up perpendicular. I'll just jump and hit a parallel, Frog Splash on you. He was one of my all-time favorites. Great top rope aerial move guy. So RVD is my number 2 Frog Splash.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I wish I could remember his opponent and when this happened, but there was an incident where he did one through a table, and the table, broke, obviously, but I guess one shard from the table poked up and apparently just missed his eye by inches, and he was really close to getting his eye poked out.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, glad RVD dodged the bullet there on taking a table shard to the eye.
Yeah. Wrestling's still real to me,
That's why they call it high risk. All right, so here's number 1. If you're going through guys that that have done Frog Splashes in your list, you might think I'm out of people, and you might go, who the hell does he have left? But maybe you weren't into the mid-card title scene in the 90s like I was. Maybe you didn't have random favorite wrestlers. And maybe you didn't dress up as Halloween as my number 1 Frog Splash wrestler of all time, D'Lo Brown. I think you better recognize... Sorry about that. D'Lo is my favorite Frog Splash. This is truly a personal subjective pick because I do think probably... you can argue RVD, Seth, and Eddie. But I saw some people in doing very brief research say, D'Lo, my top 2 are Eddie and D'Lo, or RVD and D'Lo. D'Lo would sometimes be in people's top 2. He did a really pretty Frog Splash. He kind of did a bit more of the Logan Paul, where his pump was a little bit like legs, like a little toe toucher, and hands would come down and out. And of course, he had a gimmick for a while where he tore his pec, and then he came back with this chest protector, so his Frog Splash would hit extra hard. And I bought into it. So maybe that work where he had a chest protector, so his Frog Splash was more impactful, really just settled into my brain, and I'm convinced it is the best Frog Splash of all time.
So my brother and I were big wrestling fans growing up, and my stepdad would always kind of harp on it, this is fake, this stuff's kind of silly. But he did have one favorite wrestler, and that was D'Lo Brown.
Your dad's favorite was D'Lo?
My stepdad's favorite wrestler was D'Lo Brown. He, for whatever reason, just his whole gimmick, and I think this thing, and his walk,
his neck roll.
It was like how Vince McMahon had the arms, D'Lo had the head bob, and for whatever reason, my stepdad loved it. So shout out my stepdad Bob.
That's incredible, and shout out to D'Lo Brown for impacting at least 2 lives related to this channel, mine and stepdad Bob's. It is true. I did go as D'Lo Brown either in 4th grade or 5th grade for Halloween. I've asked my mom to find a picture because she made the chest protector. We haven't found one yet, but if we do, I'll throw it in this video where we'll get it up someday with Matt as D'Lo. Are you as big a D'Lo fan as me? Would you have him as the best Frog Splash performer in your top 6? If not, let us know why Eddie Guerrero is obviously number 1 and I'm an asshole for having him at 4. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed the video, and we hope you'll check out more of our stuff. If you like what you see, go ahead, subscribe for more videos and getting that notification, and like them so we'll do the things that you like to see.